supposed to break down barriers, not build them up.
Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden explains how an attitude of intensity, both in work and play, are vital to survival in the heavy metal arena.
So we just played a little soccer and beat you.
Well, yes. Well, you didn't beat us. You beat the Music Express and the Iron Maiden team combined.
Yes, but you had some pretty decent players in there.
Oh yes, but five decent players doesn't make a team.
How did soccer become such a big part of Iron Maiden's lifestyle?
Well, Steve's always been a radical soccer fan. I mean, he lives, eats, breathes West Ham United, which is the team, which is his local team, where he comes from. West Ham has always been a great team. And they have this theory of attacking soccer, which they always go for it. You know, it doesn't matter if they're losing 10-0, they go for it. And that attitude has a lot to do with the Iron Maiden attitude too, because we
always attacking.
We take the same thing on stage. It doesn't matter. It sounds rubbish. You know, maybe the audience is quiet. Maybe 1,001 things. Attack. Go for it all the time. That's what we do for an hour, 3/4 to 2 hours. More or less. Let's go out there and speak.
It's been a long time since I've seen Phil Gerder's band. His fucking sound system. But when he came out the other night, it was like something.
We always try to really deliver and deliver in terms of ourselves, not just in terms of the audience. If you get a great audience, you can sit back and rest on your laurels, but we don't. We try not to. And if you get an audience that's very lethargic, maybe doesn't know your music, then it's very easy to sit there and dismiss them as being ignorant or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, I think if you're any good, we could go in front of an audience of 50-year-olds and get them rocking.
Center stage with Iron Maiden is the end of the road, for now at least, that has taken Bruce from boarding school through university and the Army.
What music are you listening to now?
It depends what mood I'm in, but hardly ever to Iron Maiden. I mean, if I go on the bus and I feel like a good range, and you line up the six-packs, everybody down the back, and there's no substitute for Judas Priest, AC/DC, Deep Purple, Rainbow, and like, you know, Brain Damage. That's great.
But then there's other moods.
A bit more thoughtful. I listen to a lot of Jethro Tull. Now and again I listen to some Van de Graaff. I listen to Van de Graaff on the road.
Okay, talking about heavy metal, why did you get into it in the first place? I mean, you were a university graduate. You may have gone on to other things. Why?
Okay, yeah. I started getting into heavy rock when I was 13 years old, and I listened to an album called Deep Purple in Rock. And I wanted to be every single member of that band. So I was sitting there and I got into like Jethro Tull and then I got into Sabbath and all those sort of bands. And each band had its own flavour, its own character, its own mix of all the various musical factors that make a band great.
But you mentioned a lot of bands with aggression. Did you ever think to yourself why that you liked that type of music?
You're dealing with what I regard as being the fundamental nature of people. Now, believe it or not, I regard myself as I'm not a violent person. Never have been. If I was a violent person, I'd be running around beating people up, the team that beat us. I'd take my violence off the soccer pitch. When the game finishes, that's it. You play the game within certain rules. And the reason you play the game within certain rules is because, not because you're challenging the other people so much, you're challenging yourself. And that's what Iron Maiden's about. It's about fundamental human feelings and everyday things. and try and put those into songs and try and make them effective. Because then you entertain people, you make people happy. And making people happy is something that a lot of people have forgotten about. When a person's happy, you see, he reacts in a different way to when he's mad. When a person's happy, he'll listen to other people's points of view. And music is supposed to break down barriers, not build them up.
What do you think of this whole moronic process of playing records backwards? I know a lot of people that hate rock and roll go back and play records and find some satanic message in it. And I know you did something that basically illustrated this point.
A load of nonsense.
Well, of course it's a load of nonsense.
It's completely preposterous. I mean, if old JC was to wander down again from wherever he is at the moment, he'd have a real hard time. And I think if he came down and he looked on all the rubbish that's going down these days, and all the, I should pause so as not to make a rude word, but so-called religious gentlemen who are asking for hundreds of dollars on TV.
Well, you watch those shows, do you?
I watched one for 40 minutes, and I had to turn it off.
I find it mesmerizing.
I was on the verge of physically damaging the television set. It was nothing short of, it was the nearest thing to the Nuremberg rallies that I'd ever seen on television, and it was terrifying. I found the whole spectacle horrific.
It's funny you should go into the army, because it seems that you're always looking for some sort of discipline.
No, it wasn't a case of discipline. The reason why I was attracted towards the army was because, one, it was completely non-materialistic. There's no way you're going to make a lot of money in the army. Two, there was an element of risk, an element of adventure, and also I think, and I still do believe, that it's something which has to be done by somebody. I left school, I joined the army, the active army reserve, for a year to find out, and then the plan was, and then I was going to go on and become an officer in the army. But I decided I didn't like officers. I thought in general they were...
What about officers? It seems to me to be better than to be the subservient pawn to those marching officers.
But I really got on with the subservient pawns. I thought they were great guys. I mean, what you call the subservient pawns. I thought they were a great bunch of guys. I thought they had a lot more wisdom and a lot more substance than most of the rest of the world put together. They didn't have any axe to grind.
In their simplicity.
Yes.
We're talking all values now. Honor, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Since, well,
you're talking about individual values. It's... Hang on, it's man here. This man's going to throw his frisbee. Come on then. Talking about emotional experiences.
Stick it on.
HMS Glasgow. There you go, mate.
All right.
Up in the UK. Hang on a minute. Well, don't go away. I want to give you your hat back. I don't want you getting into trouble.
I see they've had a few drinks. Let's say Iron Maiden, which already you have a great deal of success, becomes very big. What do you actually want from the money? What are you going to do with it?
I like sailing boats.
What about a little house in Beverly Hills?
I like keeping my things simple and direct. I would like to own a 1984 Corvette. I think they're very nice. They go very far. I have the utmost admiration for them as a motor car. I think they're a beautiful object. The only other car I'd be interested in would be a...
Well, as a lead singer...
I'd never consider buying a car. The only thing I buy, thing I buy is a train.
A train?
Yeah, because that demolishes semis.
I'm with you.
I love train. Are you a train fan?
I love trains. I will get...
You have got my soft spot there.
Yeah.
I'm a train nutcase. And when the train pulls around the corner, there's a thrill that goes through me. With that thing. You can't believe that something so massive,
Maybe we found the key to the aggression in Iron Maiden. Anyway, Bruce, thanks a lot.
I want to be a train.